right, agents, we're back with you with another presentation here on our main stage at Insight 2021. This one is specifically focusing on virtual sales events in a COVID environment. So let's get right after the content. So take a look at this picture right behind me here. For many of you that are out there watching and experiencing this with us, you know that period of time between October 1st and December 7th looks a lot like this, right? You're in front of a group of individuals, might be your members, could be new prospects to you, could be a mix. But this is a typical day during your AEP. A lot of you are not presenting one-to-one at the kitchen table. You're looking to meet with many Medicare individuals at the same time, trying to talk about plans and product and benefits to help people find the best plan for them for the upcoming sales year. But this AEP is probably not going to look a whole lot like this, at least in the way that we're used to. So in terms of today's insights specific to the virtual sales events, here's what we're going to kind of go through. So first we're going to talk about, what does the landscape of the large sales event look like today? And also, what are we anticipating that it's going to look like moving into October, November, December, which are the most critical months for all of you in terms of the revenue you're able to generate out of the Medicare industry. We're going to then talk about, hey, can we go virtual? What does that look like? What is the process? What are the ramifications to doing that? What are the technology pieces we need to do if you're going to utilize that type of platform to engage in your sales events? We're going to talk about marketing, promotion, how to conduct your event, how to do it. Do you do it differently? Do you do it the same? What are the key points in delivering your message as well as actionable items for your consumers during the course of that event? And then we're going to spend a little bit on how to close. It's great to be informative. It is fantastic to be an educator, but at the end of the day, boys and girls, we're not in the business of education, we're in the business of sales. And so education information is great, but how do you take that and close the deal, get the sale, and be able to, again, help that person enroll into the plan that you've been discussing with them? And then we're going to have some closing thoughts and move from there. All right, so we've already talked a little bit today on the main stage about lemons and lemonade. We've talked about that concept and how that's really been a guiding force as to how we've built the content for this whole event. So if we're talking about the lemons that we're dealing with specific to AEP, what are some of those things? What's the sour taste in our mouth that's making life a little bit more difficult? So first and foremost, we've got state rules on indoor gatherings. In some states, and obviously there's some states that are very different than others, but in looking at this on a national basis, we've got a lot of markets where you can't get more than 25 people together in a room. I know that specifically for not just weddings or youth sports or all sorts of different things, but there's many of you that are operating in states where you can't do a sales event for 25 people. Additionally, even if you're in a state where the rules and dictations from the governor's office are allowing those types of events, there's a lot of consumers that are just downright afraid over potential exposure. That even if the rules of the road in your market, be it Pittsburgh or Cleveland or Roanoke or Tampa, Florida, or wherever we're talking about, even if those rules of the road are allowing you to conduct those events, you may have a lot of consumers that just flat out don't think it's a good idea. So that's something to consider as well, is who is your audience? What is it that they are thinking and what is their willingness to come out into a large venue with lots of people to hear the information on Medicare products that you're going over. Even if you are able to get into a large-scale sales event, a lot of sales is not so much about the information. It's about making a connection with that individual, getting them to buy into you as a person. Are you someone that they can trust? Do they think that you have integrity? What is the personality, kind of meshing that's coming together between you and your client? I've always really believed in terms of sales that it's 10% information and 90% relationship. Can you connect with that person? And there's a lot of agents that we've talked to, in various parts of the country that have said, I'm trying to do the in-person sale where the consumer's wearing a mask and I'm wearing a mask, and that's tough. just really is. I mean, I can understand it, because think about the facial cues that you're looking for as an agent when you're talking to a consumer. You're talking to them about either a particular benefit, a particular line of business. What is a solution to a problem that they're experiencing? And you're looking at their face to try to determine, is this message resonating with them? So again, even if you are able to do those in-person meetings, you're having difficulty connecting with your audience. They're having difficulty connecting with you. So that's something to think about. Beyond that, there are a number of insurance companies that have put rules out there specifically on sales event filings. We've said some carriers that have said no in-person sales events during AEP. We've seen others that have said no sales events above a certain number of registrants. We've seen others that have said, hey, whatever you're going to do, you're going to do. So you've got a multitude of different factors going on with the insurance carriers. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the situation today. Okay, and I just want to emphasize, that's the situation today. I am certainly not a doomsayer. I'm not hoping that things get worse instead of better, but what if they do? This is the situation that we're dealing with right now in terms of trying to plan our AEP. But again, the situation in terms of COVID and the impact on our ability to do business could be worse in October, November, and December than it is right now. So one of my favorite quotes I think that I've ever read is by a gentleman that all of you should be familiar with named Benjamin Franklin. He's from Pennsylvania. I'm from Pennsylvania. That's not really the connection though. But this particular quote really sits in my brain, and I think about it all the time. And that quote was, by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. So let's think about that. Let's try to take some preparation steps to make sure that this AEP is the best AEP you've ever had. So take a look at this fellow behind me here. Do you see his hands? He's like, I've made that face before. I've had that expression on my face before many times for many different reasons, business and personal. But think about that frustration level, that, oh no, don't let that be you. Don't let it be you. And it doesn't have to be you if you are properly prepared. But let's imagine this potential scenario that, who knows how likely it is. You go out and you build both your member retention strategy and your new business strategy around large-scale sales events, in person, live in the field, just like you did last year. So, act like nothing is different. We're going to do a reboot of 2019, bang, right to fall of 2020. So those of you that have done this before, it requires a ton of advanced planning, the marketing to try to get people, both your members and prospects, to the event, and significant dollars that you're putting out for meeting location costs. To reserve the room, do you have a food and beverage minimum, depending on what you're doing there in terms of coffee and snacks or whatever. But you're tossing dollars out, dollars that typically aren't refundable. Then you've got to go out and you file the events with CMS. So that you're, alerting one of your carriers, hey, on October 2nd, 4th, 10th, 15th, November 1st, 3rd, 7th, 9th, I'm going to be at this location at this date and time, file with CMS, advertising it. Then based upon COVID, one of these two things could happen. First of all, maybe the members decide, yeah, you know what, I just don't think I want to go to a sales event. And you build a plan based upon the fact that typically your meeting at the Crown Plaza on Main Street usually gets you 25 to 30 people when you put out your marketing. Well, what if people just aren't as likely to come and you get 10? That's possible. You could have a number of people who are just like, yeah, I just don't know that I want to do it. That's one potential reality. So here's the other potential reality. What happens if COVID gets worse and you've got to cancel your entire slate of sales events? What happens then? Here's what you are left with in that situation if COVID gets worse. Well, number one, you've lost all sorts of time. You just can't get back. All of the planning, preparation time, the time that you spent you would have spent going to meetings, can't get that back. And we always talk about the number one resource for an agent during AEP is time. You've got 54 days, more or less, to get it done, and you're not getting that back. And because you've lost that time, you've additionally lost money. You can't make back. You can't get extra days to the AEP, or at least typically you can unless they extend it, but you can't count on that. And no agent wants to be in a position where the lost time and lost dollars are unrecoverable. So Frank Lloyd Wright, the famous architect who had built the house Fallingwater, which is actually not too far south of our office here in Pennsylvania, had this really great quote that I like a lot. I think it really pertains to this situation. And he said, "You can use an eraser on the drafting table or a sledgehammer on the construction site." And that really, to me, plays into, if you plan correctly, you can make small changes initially, but if you don't plan correctly and you get deep into the plan, all of a sudden it's a whole lot more difficult to make adjustments once you're actually deep into it. So let's talk about a solution here. Let's talk about going virtual. Let's talk about forgetting about the in-person sales events at the hotels and the restaurants and the different things. Let's talk about take it all virtual. What does that look like? So there's a number of agents that we've talked to about the idea of going virtual, and they've just said, "Oh, not my clients. No way. There's no chance my clients would do that. Maybe I have a couple here or there who would do a virtual sales event, but at the end of the day, it's just not a fit. No way." So let's talk about a little bit of statistics from December of 2019, and then looking forward just a couple months into 2020. So in December of just this past year, these are figures from Zoom, by the way. Zoom was hosting a daily average of 10 million users a day using virtual meetings, 10 million. The daily average thus far in 2020 is 200 million, a 20 times increase in the utilization of virtual meetings. And that's not just business people, boys and girls. It's not. I can tell you that I was having Zoom calls like when a lot of us were quarantined in March, April, and May. I was having Zoom calls with my parents, with my aunts and uncles, with all sorts of different people all across the country. So what that says to us here at Neishloss and Fleming is that this is a viable solution for so many individuals to be able to receive information and communicate with others, either on a one-to-one basis for appointments or for a virtual sales meeting. So let's talk a little bit about some misconceptions about individuals over 65 and what they're utilizing in terms of technology. Now, specific to internet usage, 73% of those over the age of 65 are reported to use the internet on a daily basis. That's not once a week going to the library and maybe looking something up. That's every single day. 73% of individuals over 65 are using the internet. And beyond that, let's talk about Facebook. Almost 50% of individuals over 65 are using Facebook on a daily basis. Ladies and gentlemen, these are people that are not technologically savvy, that can't possibly think about doing an online resource for a meeting. These are things they're doing right now. So thinking about these statistics, as well as the experience we've had in talking to agents and talking to members, there is no reason whatsoever why you can't put a plan together to serve the majority of your clients, both existing clients as well as new prospects, using an online meeting solution. And in fact, in our opinion, it is absolutely the prudent way to go. So let's discuss going virtual with Zoom. Now, there's a lot of online meeting technology out there that you could engage with and purchase with, but Zoom to us is really the simplest and easiest to use. And there's a lot of you that are out there watching this today that have been using this technology already. Many of your clients are doing that. We talked a little bit earlier again about a lot of seniors using Zoom to communicate with friends and family during the various state quarantines that were out there. But it is easy to use. And when you're talking about utilizing an online meeting solution to basically make your business go during AEP, ease of use is the single most important thing. So there is a free account. I know that a lot of you have used free accounts, but for $150 a year, which if you think about what we spend on running our business, it is a negligible expense. For $150 a year, here's what you can do as an agent. You can host a meeting for up to 100 individuals. You have no limit to the number of meetings, but most importantly, there is no time maximum per meeting. On the free account, you've got a 40-minute limit, which maybe for a one-to-one appointment, you might be able to get away with, but if you're doing a large-scale sales event, that's not going to cut it. But it only costs you $150, and you could do a 10-hour meeting if you wanted. I don't know why you do it, but you could. So the key part, obviously, to all of this is, can you get butts into the virtual seats? Which is always the key. If you can't get people to hear your message, it's like your message doesn't exist. So let's talk about marketing and promotion here just for a quick minute. So I don't know that the marketing and promotion for these types of events really needs to be any different from the way that you've marketed them in the past. Maybe with some subtle differences, but if you think about how you have communicated with members and new clients to have them attend an in-person sales event, realistically, we should be talking about the same types of things. You talk about print advertisements. You're going to use letters to your clients, postcard mailings, promoting those dates and times to your clients. We're talking about a very similar thing. Email is also a really good way to do this. So a lot of you have email addresses for your existing clients. That's something that you collect as part and parcel to your business. So email absolutely would be an appropriate way to do this. And let's talk about social media. Is that something that you're engaged with? Is that a way that you are connecting with consumers, new and existing? That's also a very strong way to try to promote your virtual meeting. So again, top to bottom, we're not talking about reinventing the wheel here. The way in which you have previously promoted your sales events is the same exact way. You'll be working to promote these new sales events, the virtual ones that you're doing, with some minor differences. So one of our first suggestions is to use a URL shortener. Now, some of you may say, what's a URL shortener? And that's okay. If you haven't been super engaged in doing digital meetings or a lot of electronic communication with your clients to this point, you might have no reason to know what that is. But there is a service, one example would be Bitly, that takes a very long and complicated URL and tightens it down to something that's much more manageable. So imagine that you are a Medicare recipient and you get a postcard in the mail from an agent, and you read the information and you say, this is information I think is pertinent to me. I think I'd probably like to go and listen to what they have to say. Which of these web addresses do you think would be easier for them to type in? Because again, if they're reading it off a postcard, they've got to type it into their computer. Which do you think would be easier? Let's take a look at these two URLs. So the first one, they're typing it in. It's https://zoom.meeting.register/239,048, so on and so forth. Can you imagine? Imagine this scenario, okay? Imagine at the kitchen table, you've got Bob and you've got his wife Gladys, okay? They're sitting there, they're like, is today the day for that meeting on Medicare? Yeah, Gladys, it is. Okay, let's log on. We'll do it just like, Jimmy showed us how to do on the laptop. And they open up Internet Explorer and they're like trying to type it in. And Bob said, wait, was that a 3 or a 9 next? Oh no, I mistyped it. Let's start over again. Trying to type in that URL. Can you imagine that? I mean, think about it. I can see my mom and dad doing it right now, and then, and they're in their late 60s and they're pretty good. But that's a super pain in the rear end. Are there a couple people that might just get frustrated because they mistype it here or there and they keep going to website not found? They might think the meeting doesn't exist. Or would it be easier to use a URL shortener? And on the card, if they want to attend the event, it's bit.ly/Bob Medicare Meeting 1. That's pretty simple. So in terms of ease of use, specifically with your physical mail pieces and the things you're putting out into market, use a URL shortener. It just makes it more accessible, more friendly to the consumers, makes them more likely to show up and hear the fantastic message that you've got about product. So the next piece of advice on making sure that you're hosting an incredibly successful and well-attended virtual meeting is use a picture. So a lot of folks might be anxious about attending a virtual sales event, not about using Zoom. Again, we're saying there's a lot of folks that are doing that, but in terms of receiving information about something as important and critical to them as their health insurance in an online fashion. So if you think about how this will work for the consumer, you're not going to have that period of time where they're walking in 10 minutes before the event starts and they're getting a cup of coffee and you're having a chance to make some small talk with them, or maybe one of the guys walks in, has a Penguins hat on, or a St. Louis Cardinals hat on, and you're chatting with them about their sports team. They're just making them feel at ease. You're not going to have that opportunity with Zoom. So one of the things that we think is really important is on your mail pieces, have a headshot. Have a picture of your face, smiling, looking professional, so that way when the consumer logs on to the virtual sales event and they see your face, they're like, oh, this is the guy that sent us the mail piece. It gives them a sense of comfort that may smooth out a little bit of that nervousness over attending a Medicare sales event for the first time and put them in a better position to really hear and receive your message as clearly as possible. So we've talked about the advertisement for this event, and I think a lot of the advertisement can absolutely be the same, but one thing we are saying is that you can look at advertising a little bit differently, and maybe advertising online if you've never done that before. I've taken a lot of look at Facebook advertisement, and it's really not that expensive. I've actually been kind of surprised that if I was an agent in the field and that's how I was trying to generate my revenue, I would be doing Facebook advertisement a lot. The other thing that Facebook permits you to do is you can really target the best possible audience for your message. You can segment by age, which is obviously important, because you don't need a 25-year-old to be receiving your Facebook ad about your Medicare sales event, but segment it by age, the location, demographics. Think about who is my target client. Who is that? What do they look like? What is their profile? And get into Facebook and really segment into getting a picture of who your typical client is and make sure that that advertisement is hitting their Facebook account to drive them to your event. Okay guys, it's the day of the event. It is time to get started. Your consumers are getting ready to log in. What is it that you are doing to give yourself the best possible chance for success? It's here, game time. First of all, let's talk through a couple key points, couple best practices. The first thing you want to do is set up your laptop where you're going to get a strong visual. What you don't want to do is to be at the kitchen table with dishes coming out of the sink behind you. You've got Johnny's little bat bag from baseball laying on the counter. Sally's got her dance clothes and dance shoes thrown on a shelf, but a little bit further down the way, and it's all in the shot. You need to think about what is the shot that folks are getting, and make sure that your area is three things: clean, tidy, professional. What is behind you will speak to the consumer every bit as much as what is in front of them in terms of you and your presentation. In terms of your dress, we're talking professional here, guys. Your appearance online, we really feel this way, is going to matter more than if you're in person, because it's a lot more difficulty for your personality and just the feel of you to come through. So what the consumer sees face value is probably going to have a much greater impact than if you were conducting that sales event, at a meeting room at the Hampton Inn down the street. You definitely want to be logged in 30 minutes ahead. So your clients, if they're early, you've got to be there before they are. So we're thinking 30 minutes before, you're logged into your session, you're sitting there in front, everything is set up. It's not like you're still moving stuff around or different things. That 30 minutes ahead of time, you are ready to start, greet your consumers. And that's a good point. As these clients come in, talk to them, make them feel welcome. Try to have a similar feel to what you would be doing at a live in-person sales event. Because if you think about it, if you were doing a live event, as the consumers come in, you're having those conversations, you're greeting them, you're small talking them. Be prepared to do that if they're arriving early for your Zoom event. So in moving forward into actually conducting the event, First, you want to set the stage. We really think that before you just dive right into the content, you need to start with some general housekeeping items. What are those types of things? And I think two things are very important. Number one, how are you going to handle questions and answers? That's a really important item, because where these meetings can go off the rails, let's say that you've got 20 folks who are on the call, and you have not put a system together by which you're taking questions and answers. Everyone starts talking over each other. Then no one starts talking. Then it kind of gets to be, kind of a little scattershot. Like, that's not giving your clients a good impression. So have a system for how you're going to handle questions and answers. The other thing you need to do is, if you are going to mute their audio for background noise, which is probably a good idea, you need to tell them that, so that they're not sitting in front of their kitchen table saying, hey Matt, I have a question. Matt, I don't understand this Part B thing. Or, hey Matt, I don't understand. What's the maximum out of pocket? Let them know that. So, because if they keep talking and no one's responding and they don't know their audio is muted, they're going to think it's broken or it's not working, and they're going to hit the X in the top right corner. They're like, this thing is screwed up. I told you we shouldn't have done this, Sally. Like, what are we doing on this silly online meeting anyway? So again, have a good strategy around questions and answers. And if you're going to mute audio, you got to let them know that. So it's showtime now. You are ready to rock. You've taken care of your housekeeping items. You've got your CMS compliant presentation. But the number one most important thing is energy. Energy. So those of you who have been to our in-person meetings before, when we've gone out and either done the insight meetings or we're doing trainings, when I've had the benefit of being with you, I'm walking around, I'm moving around the room, my arms are going, I'm standing next to your tables, I'm talking to you, I'm doing all of these things. Right now, I'm talking to you, I've got a little exit tape below me where our videographer is saying, hey Bill, you stay on the tape, stay in the shot. It's difficult to do it remotely. This is not ideal, boys and girls. I would very much prefer to be with you in a large meeting room, and we've got hundreds of people, we're talking about critical information, but that's just not where we are right now. And with you and your clients, it's the same type of thing. Your energy usually can show through when you're doing a sales event. When it's two computer screens, you're seeing the screen, your clients are seeing the screen. Having energy in your delivery is that much more important. To keep the consumers up, to keep them engaged, so that they're not looking at the birds chirping outside, their window, out on their deck, or they're not looking at the television that's on the other side of the room. They are on point with you. So bring the energy. You also want to try to build in a couple frequent stops for interaction. If you just start talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking for an hour at a time, you're going to lose your people. You're going to lose them. It is far easier for them to get distracted and lose interest in an online scenario than if they're actually sitting in front of you in a meeting room. So have some frequent stops for questions and interactions. And lastly, be prepared for technical difficulties. Okay, it's going to happen. You have to be prepared for that. You can't let it just completely throw you mentally. You have to be able to improvise, adapt, overcome. Don't let it shake you. Just assume that at some point you're going to have something wonky happen and move on. It's no different than if you were doing a live event, like I said, at that meeting room at the Hampton Inn down the street, and one of the sales and catering people drops an enormous plate of dishes out in the hall. There's this huge crash, and people are like, what happened? Oh my God. That's going to happen. You could have a ceiling tile that you walk into your meeting room, breaks, and there's water dripping from the ceiling. Those types of things happen in an in-person event. Don't let it shake you. Be prepared for those technical difficulties that invariably are going to happen. Okay, you've got people to your event. You've talked with them. You've presented great information. You've given them all sorts of, insight on the plans that are available for 2021. What's next? You got to be a closer. Be a closer. So one of my favorite movies of all time, Glengarry Glen Ross, and Alec Baldwin gives the most impactful, albeit a little crass, but most impactful speech about sales. ABC, always be closing. Always be closing. Even when you're not closing, be closing. All of your communications with your members and your prospects, it's really about saying to them, I'm the person that you want to trust and rely upon to make this decision, and we'll make it together. So several times during your presentation, and then again at the finish, what you need to do is reference how clients take this information that you've given them on plan designs and benefits and work with you to enroll in the plan. Your presentation is worthless. It's not worth anything unless the consumers that attend your event are very clear on two things. Number one, you, the agent, will be the one to help them select an appropriate plan, and you're very ready and willing to do that, and how they can schedule that time to do it. How and when will that happen? If your consumers jump off of that online meeting and they don't know those two things, you wasted a whole lot of time and energy. So once you finish that online meeting, what are the options for enrollment? Like, obviously you've just engaged with them virtually. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense that you're now going to go to their homes. First and foremost, hands down best option. This should be your number one option for enrollment for AEP 2021 is Medicare Center. The new and improved Medicare Center, you'll be able to watch some content that Justin McBee from our office is going to do on all of the incredible enhancements that are coming from 2021. Sometimes when you change a system for the next year, it's a tweak. It's a minor thing. It's a little bit of functionality here. It's a little bit of color change. Guys, Medicare Center is all new and it's fantastic. But if your clients can attend meetings virtually, they can enroll virtually. Like that's the thing. I had a conversation with an agent not too long ago that was talking about doing virtual sales events and then following them up with in-person meetings. Guys, again, if a consumer is going to jump on and hear you talk about Medicare products through a virtual meeting, they're able to enroll in Medicare Center. It's hands down the best way to do it. It's efficient, it's seamless, it's compliant. It's the way to go. Now, if your client just for whatever reason, doesn't want to enroll online, you could mail them an enrollment kit, and then get on the phone and talk to them. But, again, why go back to paper? Once you're virtual, once you're electronic, stay down that path and just keep rolling with it. All right, so here's a couple closing thoughts as we finish out our session today. First of all, I really appreciate the time you're spending with us. I'm happy to bring this content to you. Wish that I was with you in person. But let's just think through in terms of these virtual sales events in our current environment. Today's seniors, they're internet warriors, guys. I mean, they are. I can talk to you. I know several of you have been at my in-person meetings and heard me talk about my dad as kind of the example for this. My dad is 69 years old. By the time AEP is over, he'll be 70. My dad has like 7 fantasy football teams. He shops on Amazon. Like, he actually watches video of the hockey teams that are going to play my son's hockey teams and build scouting reports. Like, he's doing all of this crazy stuff. Is he capable of enrolling online? Yes. Is he capable of saying, yeah, I'm comfortable going to a virtual sales meeting? Yes. And I wouldn't say my dad was super technologically inclined before he retired. I'd say he's probably pretty average. But again, get out of your mind that the individuals that you will both be trying to prospect for or your current members don't have the capability to use the internet, because they absolutely do. Very key item, guys, and I really want you to hear this and let it settle into your hearts. This COVID pandemic is not going to slow your business down unless you allow it. It's really up to you. The decision is yours as to whether or not some of the minor changes that all of us may need to do in our business, whether or not we're just going to let them bury us, or whether we're going to make some changes to the way we do business and just get back after it. I can tell you that in March, April, and May, were we seeing, less volume in terms of enrollments? Yeah, we were. But realistically speaking, guys, we're back to seeing agents having record sales numbers all across the country. Not just in one state or another, but Pennsylvania, Texas, Florida, Ohio, Missouri, New York, all over the place. Agents are absolutely hitting their sales goals because they have improvised, they have adapted, and they have overcome. So again, COVID is not going to slow you down unless you allow that to happen. And the last thing, we are coming in on AEP. Just think about the ABCs. Think about Alec Baldwin and that chalkboard. Always be closing. Let your clients know that you're the person that's got the expertise to help them and you're ready and willing to do it. So with that, I just want to thank you on behalf of Neishloss and Fleming from our entire team here, how much we appreciate your business. We're here to serve you and your clients. You guys matter to us. We're nothing without our relationship. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you so much.
This is Justin McBee with Neishloss and Fleming, and my position here is the Director of Operations. And today we're going to be talking about the new exciting Medicare Center, which is going to be newly released for all of our agents this upcoming AEP. We're super excited to announce this to everyone, roll it out. We have some upcoming changes to the systems you're familiar with the old Medicare Center, but we also have some new implementations and systems that are going to help you guys be very successful this upcoming AEP. You know, with Medicare Center, we're going to kick it off with a little video here. But, you know, we obviously know that time is your most important resource. So as we develop this tool for all of our agents, we kept and thought for our agents to be more successful, to save time, cut costs, and be, you know, in the environment that we're in currently, just have that resource available for you all to kind of kick off this upcoming AEP. So we'll show you a little video here that will kick it off for us, and then we'll go a little bit more into the details.
When you're a Medicare agent, time is a precious resource, especially preparing for and during this unique and unprecedented AEP. That's why we're thrilled to introduce the new Medicare Center. It's a robust sales and marketing platform designed to help you simplify multiple carrier e-apps and send scope of appointments via text message, so you can make the most of every sales opportunity. Medicare Center has the tools and resources you need to succeed and stay compliant. You can digitally manage clients, quote and compare plans instantly, submit applications, track prescription drug lists, and more, face-to-face or while working virtually. Medicare Center simplifies client management. Now you can use dashboards to see where clients are in the application process, manage your follow-ups, and see how client needs evolve from year to year. You can even text your clients compliantly from start to finish. No more searching the web for enrollment and quoting tools. With Medicare Center, you have access to the latest technology built for agents. And say goodbye to separate logins. Medicare Center brings all of your carriers together. Managing scope of appointments, quoting, searching plans by prescription drug lists or physicians, e-applications, and more are all accessible with a single username and password. The new Medicare Center is a powerful tool that's built to help you produce. We're here to help you take full advantage of it, free of charge. To learn more about Medicare Center and how it can help you during this unprecedented AEP, talk to your marketer today.
So there you have it. The new exciting Medicare Center is going to be released for all of our agents on 10/1 of this year. Going to be really exciting. We know that you're all pulled in many directions here, collecting scopes, talking to clients, managing the admin side, you know, doing all this relationship building. So we want to really simplify your process to give you the most efficient, most successful AEP ever. As we go along here, again, time. Time is super valuable, as we all know. You know, one question we always ask is, how can you spend your time on what actually matters? Not admin work, not paperwork, you know, getting face-to-face with these consumers, you know, being able to spend more time, whether it's done virtually, remotely, face-to-face. You know, we're just trying to work on a way to keep us successful and keeping you successful. So as we go along, again, we want to welcome everyone to the new Medicare Center. This is so exciting. This is going to be the best AEP ever. We're super excited to go through the systems today. we're used to the old Connecture system, which is the old Medicare Center. I will dig a little bit deeper into that here just momentarily. But, again, we kept in mind as we built this system out, it's built to help agents. There's going to be sales resources, learning centers, enrollment guides, enrollment systems. Everything's going to be in one spot for you all as we go through here. And we're going to be able to access MA PDP enrollments, MedSup quotes. As we go through, you're going to be able to build in CRM system. You can manage your clients. You can quote. You can enroll. Again, saving time, producing more, being able to do this remotely and face-to-face with consumers is really going to be the focus this upcoming AEP. CRM. We mentioned the simplified CRM, which for those who aren't familiar with the terminology of CRM, it is the client relationship manager. So think of that, client relationship management. This is going to allow you to better track your clients, better reach out to your clients, follow up with your consumers, on any device. That's the great thing about Medicare Center, the new Medicare Center. You can use your computer, you can use your phone, you can use a tablet. Anywhere you are, you can virtually use the new Medicare Center. Again, tracking clients regardless of the enrollment and quoting tool. We have many tools available for you this year. Not just the old Medicare Center, but a variety of tools that's going to make you successful. Super simple process as we go through the CRM system. As you see, captures all of your details that you would normally want to capture on a consumer. Create a consumer with just a simple click. You can enter your first, last name, email address, mailing address, city, state, phone, postal code. More importantly, there's a notes section. This will allow you to capture anything for your consumer as we go along through the system. So any important information. One thing I really stress that we really like to do and focus on is date of birth. Sometimes systems don't capture that. That allows you to create a more personal connection with your consumers. There's many agents and agencies that I speak with that they literally send birthday cards to their consumers. So notes section, very important there. Also built into the system, we have a status. So that's going to allow you to track your status of your consumers, whether the scope was sent, whether they're in process of an enrollment, whether they did enroll. So again, you can plan, communications and next steps with your consumers at all times. Over here, you're going to see kind of the dashboard, very sleek looking. You'll be able to access all of your consumers here just in one click. Again, simply add new consumers by the blue button there. We'll have a big training on this section at a later date. Universal login. Many may be, what does this mean? So basically what we're going to do by offering you very many systems, or a variety of systems I should say, that would eliminate the need to log into every single tool. So instead of having 3 to 4, 5, 6, 7 passwords and usernames, which we know we don't all love and appreciate, we have made it super easy for everyone to have one login. So one login is going to access the quoting enrollment tools along with the learning center and user guides and everything you need to be, everything you're going to need to be successful this AEP. Easily reset passwords and manage admin communications. So what does that mean? Super simple process. You see the login screen here. You can set up a new account if you do not have an account. Once you get logged in, or if you forget your password, again, we have a very simple process for forgetting your password. You can reset your password on the click of one button. Again, registering and linking your account. Once you do this, it registers with your NPN, which will always stick with you, allow you to log into Medicare Center anywhere you are. Learning Center. And what's better than a learning center, right? So you can learn tips from the industry's best practices on the fly. We're going to have up-to-date live data fed into this 24/7, 365 days a year. We want to make you successful, have everything at your fingertips you need to be successful. Not only just using Medicare Center, but in your day-to-day practices as you go through your day-to-day business. So additional to learning tips and industry best practices, we're going to have, again, carrier guides from carriers, health solutions from different parts of the integrity businesses, Neishloss and Fleming being one of them. We also have life solutions. So if you're an agent that sells life and health insurance, we're going to have all of those options available to you. Again, live carrier feeds and insights on all the practices, products, requirements are all going to be in here, making it a very successful AEP. First and foremost, we want to talk about the 2 enrollment systems that we're going to offer this year. Medicare App. So Medicare App is going to be the former Medicare Center, which is going to be powered through Connecture, which we're going to get through momentarily. But Medicare App, it's the most widely adopted Medicare shopping and enrollment solution to date. So understanding Connecture has been in the business for a long time. They know what they're doing. They have the ins and outs. I personally work directly with Connecture on developing some of the changes and implementations with Medicare App. So we take your feedback serious. So as you go through these processes, don't be afraid to share your industry knowledge with myself. We can successfully say that 60% of this system has been changed or adapted to recommendations from agents like yourself. So keep them coming. We really take that seriously, and nobody knows the systems and the business better than you all. Medicare Link. Medicare Link is going to be the new exciting Medicare enrollment tool that we're going to offer this year. And I will jump over here so I'm not in the way here. It's a new Medicare shopping and enrollment solution. It's a team that has recently been developing the system very similar to Connecture, quoting and enrollment shopping experience. They have gathered a variety of different people in the industry that have been working in it for a very long time. Again, working alongside with them, developing the same kind of process as Medicare App. We are super excited to offer Medicare Link this year as well. Again, Medicare Link. This is going to be the look of Medicare Link. And the next slide here, we're going to discuss a little bit further. It is powered by a company called Sunfire. This system specifically, again, has a very nice user interface here. It's going to allow you to track your prospects and clients very quickly on the front of the screen here. You can search plans by client's doctor. You can compare them to the current health plan that they exist on. You can sign SOAs and enrollment forms via text or email. Very exciting news on the text or email section, which also is offered in Medicare App as well. You can enroll your clients electronically on any device. Again, both of these systems are easily accessible with phone, iPad, computer, desktop. You can really access these tools anywhere you really truly like. If you do begin a prospect or a consumer here, you can always start the process, go back and pick up where you left off. That's the great thing about these tools, is you're not going to lose your work. You always have access to the platform here. And as we go along, again, very easy to use design. The user interface here is very streamlined, very easy to follow. You can quickly quote, follow up, kick off any enrollment from anywhere you are. Again, works on any device. Sell wherever, whenever you are, whenever you choose to do such. And even better, within the tool, you are able to track reporting. So what's more important than that? Obviously, we know you want to get paid. Track your sales, your commissions, making sure you're getting paid, you and your agency if you have an agency. But again, this tool is going to make you be able to track your business again and make you more successful. Medicare App. Again, this is the former Medicare Center. So many of you that have dealt with Niceloss and Fleming for so long, including the last 3 years, Medicare Center has been offered by Niceloss and Fleming for quite some time. What's new this year is a newly designed user interface and the name. So really just 2 significant changes, but the system itself, you're not losing any information. All of the information is going to remain in the system that you're used to, allowing you to shop, quote, enroll, again, on any device, anywhere you are, wherever you are, whenever you choose to do such. The Medicare Center also is going to allow you, continue to allow you the extensive list of carriers that we have in the past. Pharmacy search, there's nothing more important to having that access to the formulary pharmacy and physician lookup. So again, newly designed here, you're going to be able to quickly select a pharmacy, providing the consumer the most accurate drug costs. We do deliver this information based on local pharmacy pricing as well. no averages are ever used, so you're gonna have that tried and true pharmacy pricing. You can save the drug list. We all know how important this is. With last year's Medicare.gov debacle, we struggled at the last minute, last hour of leading up to AEP, but we made it work. But this year is going to be even more simple. So you can save your drug list, improve quote accuracy, and new this year is the newly integrated blue button. We all know how important that is. What we've done this year is integrated the Medicare blue button, which allows you to pull the drug lists from Medicare.gov, saving you a tremendous amount of time. Again, you can always ensure your beneficiaries are always reliable with an annual out-of-pocket cost, therefore allowing you to kind of build that more rapport with your customer, making sure they're comfortable with the information you're providing them. Electronic signatures, nothing is more exciting than this year. Electronic signatures, this is what everyone's been asking for. In the years past, we come across consumers that don't have email addresses, and it leads you to the question, what's next? Texting. Everyone has a phone, There's my grandparents have a phone, my mom and dad have a phone, smartphone. It's shocking what they can all do on it, but everyone has a phone. Very exciting rolling out this year, text to enroll, text to sign in SOA. So no longer do you have to capture an email address, we can capture the text to sign as well. Referring to the blue button, I know we just touched base on it slightly, but what this means, it builds their medicine cabinet from Medicare.gov, directly correlates with our system, and pulls the drugs in for you, saving you a lot of time. Super simple process. We're trying to cut not only the costs and travel and time, but this will allow you to cut admin costs in half as well. There's no typing. You simply put an email address in from the consumer, they sync up, and it is pretty error-free. Always current, up-to-date information on the medications for your consumers. Again, this is going to be the largest AEP ever. Not simply because of the environment we've been in and the adjustments we've had to make, but throughout this process, we've been able to develop this tool to really, really help every agent this year across the country. MedSup quoting. Exciting news here. Many of you are familiar with our quoting tool on our website. This is CSG. CSG is the same system that we power directly from Neisloss and Fleming's website for the quoting engine that everyone's used to seeing. That will now be in one centralized hub. So instead of having to go to our website or Medicare Center or wherever you choose to go, this is going to be housed in one place. Nothing's changing. Your permissioning is going to stay the same. You're going to be able to do the same exact things as far as quoting goes. You can quickly and easily quote on key factors, find the right plans for your consumers. And again, there is a fantastic company, CSG, which is leading the back of everything that you see in the quoting system for Medicare supplements. They are the best professional company for this information. Carriers, this is absolutely not all of the carriers, but as you see, this is a pretty bold impression here. So, we have all the significant players in the field. Just to name a few, we have United Healthcare, Aetna, Anthem, Humana, a couple standalone BCBSs, Cigna, SilverScript, one of the best PDPs out there currently. Again, this is just a very small portion of the carriers we're able to offer this year. As we go along here, just to touch base, before we're here to wrap up things, I want to make sure everyone understands with the carrier list that you just saw, a new implementation this year is very, very exciting. Not only can you see the carriers that you can sell and enroll consumers in, but you will now have the option and availability to shop all available plans in your portal. So super exciting. Everyone got used to using .gov for this information specifically. So when .gov kind of went awry last year, we all know, oh wow, what are we going to do? The plans disappeared. I can't see all the plans. We worked very hard for the integration of being able to offer every single plan to you all. So what you can do is not only can you quote and enroll in those plans and carriers that you're able to sell with, but you will now be able to shop for all available plans. And then if we need to get you contracted, we'd be glad to help you. Couple closing things here. Again, we are here to support you. We're working on building a very strong team for support for Medicare Center. This is just the beginning. However, questions, training requests, etc., we will have all of the contact information for you with the Medicare Center support team. The email address is simply medicarecenter@integritymarketing.com. Again, medicarecenter@integritymarketing.com, and we will definitely be here to help you guys out. Closing thought. Save time, produce more with Medicare Center. Call us today to learn more.